of Philosophical Research, New Delhi, sponsored National Webinar on Yoga. Thank you. Once again, welcome to all.
I invite Dr. Ramesh Kumar, Assistant Professor of Zoology, to introduce the guest.
Yes, good morning to one and all gathered here. First of all, I want to thank our principal, Dr. Sendamil Selvi Madam, and the organizer, Dr. P. Mariappan, for giving me a nice opportunity to introduce the young and energetic professor and my mentor, Dr. Chellam Balasundaram sir. A very good morning to one and all once again. Dr. Chellam Balasundaram sir has more than 40 years of teaching and research experience in animal sciences field. But this time is not enough to tell all his achievements, academic careers within a short time. So I want to highlight some important achievements of Dr. Chellam Balasundaram sir. Actually, he completed his undergraduate course, that is BSc Zoology from Madras University in the year 1966, and he completed MSc from Annamalai University in the year 1975, and he got his PhD from Madurai Kamarajan University in the year 1982. After this, he is joined as a lecturer in the year 1989 to 1995 in Bharadas University, and then he promoted to a reader for the year 1995 to 2003, and he has worked as a professor for the period of 2003 to 2007 in Department of Animal Science, Bharadas University, and he has also worked as Professor Emeritus for the period from 2007 to 2013. Apart from his academic career, he has a very good yoga teaching experience. For example, he had been teaching yoga at ad hoc basis to postgraduate students from different disciplines for 3 years in the Department of Physical Education, Bharadas University. He has also got the PG diploma in yoga. And to his credit, he has many editorial experience, and he has worked as editorial member in charge and published Bharadas University Journal of Science and Technology, a bilingual journal published by Bharadas University. And he has also completed 9 PhD students he has guided, and he has completed nearly 2 major research projects. He visited many foreign countries like Finland, South Korea, etc. And his area of specialization is a very long one. For example, he is a specialized man in aquaculture, biodiversity, fish disease management, research methodology, and he is also a man of biostatistics, environmental science, etc. He is a life member in many academic science societies, for example, Indian Science Congress Association, Invertebrate Network of Southeast Asia, Zoo Outreach Organization, etc. These are the various achievements. For his credit, he has also published many research articles and books. For example, he published nearly 131 articles in well-reputed journals, and he published 4 books and articles for nearly 24 articles published. Last but not least, he has participated in nearly more than 50 conferences, etc. He has also acted as a research person for many conferences, like talk like this, number 72. He has also given many radio talks regarding the academic activities and regarding the yoga also. With this small introduction regarding Dr. Chellam Balasundaram sir, I once again thank you, the organizer. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Mariappan? Hello?
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Yes.
Hello, sir. Sir, please carry on. A few minutes, I will connect that PowerPoint slides, sir. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Can I start talking?
Yeah, you start talking, sir. I will connect that PowerPoint presentation in 2 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. My dear fellow friends, I'm very happy to be with you all. on this very important topic. I thank everyone who is responsible for having made this meeting possible. The ICPR, the principal, my dear student, Dr. Mariyappan, and Dr. Ramesh, who has introduced me. I thank everybody, and it's a privilege. It's actually a privilege to be here. So let me start my lecture. You all know about yoga. It is the talk of the day. Throughout the world, our Honorable Prime Minister has made it officially a recognized field. In fact, a number of Christian countries, even Muslim countries, the United Nations, World Health Organization, they all have recognized the importance of yoga, and it is just growing. The reason behind this is yoga is the only discipline that connects the body, the mind, and the soul. There is no other discipline, because they are all single one-pointer medical treatments. Every treatment, in spite of all the advancements made, they deal the human body as a machine. That's all. Actually, this practice of yoga in India has started more than 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. And Patanjali, a yogi, has compiled whatever was available. That means even before Patanjali, that is about 2,000 years. Yes?
Slide is ready, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So even before 2,000 years, this was a flourishing area of daily life. So this Patanjali has compiled whatever was available into sutras. Sutras means in couplets, in definitions. So Patanjali Yoga, it is named as Patanjali Yoga, even though even before Patanjali, there were saints and yogis who supplemented and supplanted the idea of yoga. Then the Upanishads are a rich storehouse of yoga. We have the great Bhagavad Gita. We have very different leading books in modern context. There is a book called Light on Yoga by SKS Iyengar. It's a very leading treatise even today, followed throughout the world. So a number of textbooks are there. But the thing is, you read every text available, it says it is the integration of the body, mind, and soul. Next slide. Yes. So many people are coming out in search of doing yoga. And I have a very good experience about this. Most of the people, they want to come out of depression, compelling thoughts. That is, when you go to bed, you don't get sleep that easily. Different type of thoughts, they come and go. They don't stand in your mind forever. They stand for some time and they go. It is compared to the waves in the ocean. So the waves keep on rising, breaking, rising, breaking. So similarly, the human mind takes out whatever it is in the mind, It thinks about. As a result of overthinking, and remember, my dear participants, human mind especially is addicted to negative thoughts. It doesn't think about the positive thoughts, your achievements and all. So there may be so many achievements, but it mulls upon the negatives only. It's natural, very natural. But when you think like this for months together, for years together, then gradually you develop problems like blood pressure, diabetes, heart problems, etc., etc., etc. So therefore, the doctor says, come on, why don't you go for yoga? Because he knows that these treatments are only supporting. They don't cure the problem. For example, blood pressure cannot be cured. Diabetes cannot be cured. It can be suppressed. Even heart problems. So the first, you must be fit to do yoga. That is, you must know something about yoga and what are the needs for yoga. Next. Next, please. Yes. Essentially, when the problem is intense, only when the problem is intense, the doctor asks the patient to do yoga, mostly for back pain, heart and lung problems, stress, sleeplessness, diabetes, even skin problems. So number of problems, most of the problems, as I have told you, they do not cure the problem. It gives only treatment. You get medicines. Back pain, you get medicines. Heart problem, you get medicines. Because why it is not possible to cure the diseases? Because most of the health problems are psychosomatic. It starts from the mind. So therefore, prevention is better than cure. When the problem lies in the mind, there is no point in treating the body as a machine. That's all. Very simple. So to avoid these problems, first of all, you must strengthen your precious body physically, mentally, and socially. Once you prepare your mind physically, mentally, and socially, then you are fit to go to the next stage, that is beyond the mind. It is very well explained that in Tamil, it is called Kadavul. Kadavul means cross the mind. That's all. Very simple. Cross the mind. So that is the objective. So first of all, let us define health. Next. My dear participants, the simple question is, are we healthy? Are you healthy now? Can you say 100% you are healthy? Most of my students answer, yes, sir. Then I ask them, are you physically healthy? Then they think, what is the percentage of your health? What is the percentage of your health? Can you give me a range? Can you give me a range? The scale from 0 to 10? So if it is 5, it's okay. You are in between. 10, you are perfectly fine. Can anybody be perfectly fine? No. 8, 7. When it comes to 0, it's a very big problem. Next. So what is health? The definition according to World Health Organization is, it is a state of complete physical, complete mental, complete social well-being. It is not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Next. Next is, according to World Health Organization,
அது சிமெண்ட் இல்ல மணல்
Come
அது
to
எம்சாண்ட்
a new word, spiritual health.
நாலு மூட்டை வேணும்னா
Physical health, mental health, social health, spiritual health. So spiritual health is beyond the physiology and psychology. It's a very good definition. It is something that transcends physiology and psychology. Yes, yes. Yogis can stop the heartbeat. Yogis can stop the brain waves, brain activity. So brain activity stops, you are dead, brain dead, they say. But there are Indian yogis who proved in US that we can stop the waves emanating from the brain in the form of EMR, electromagnetic radiation. So what is this spiritual health? Spiritual health, it is simply moving toward God. It promotes human capacity. It makes your life purposeful. Human connection with God, himself, self, yourself, others, and the nature. That is the spiritual health. But I'm surprised to find out the Latin meaning of the word spirit. Spirit means breath, courage, vigor, or soul. Next. Next. Yes, thank you. So now we come to the physical health. One slide before. Before, Mariappan? Yes, thank you. Yes. So the food we take determines the physical health. We all know. Right now, what you had for your breakfast is influencing your mind. It influences your physical health. What is this? How can the food determine the health of mind? Physical health. Yes, you take plenty of food, you feel sleepy. You take food which is rich in spices, it makes you very unrestful. Unrestful, it stimulates. The spices stimulate. And we have a host of communicable diseases which affect our physical health. The various pathogens, bacterial, viral. For example, corona is rocking the world. There is no end. There is no end at all, apparently. They say another virus is coming. So the diseases, microbes, the war, the human war with the microbes will never be over, because these pathogens become resistant in spite of all the medicines you develop. Apart from the communicable diseases, we have a list of non-communicable diseases, which I have told you. Arthritis, cholesterol, cancer, they're all non-communicable. Next, including hair loss. Next. Yes. So the treatments, as I said, they treat the human body as a machine. They do not bother about your mind. They do not bother about your soul. So as a machine, a cycle has different parts, a car has different parts. So it wants to know the functions and the intricacies of the different cells at cellular level, at molecular level. What are the functions? How does the virus enter into the body? How does the virus enter into the cell? What is the mechanism of proliferation? It produces thousands and thousands of copies in the human cells. How it is produced? Yes, you know. But the question is, we want to stop. We want to strengthen the system. We want to strengthen the human body. That is the aim. So what is the use of this? Diagnostic tests, scans, and surgeries, amazing discoveries, and mostly they are preventive. Next. Thank you. So the results are immediate. You have a ulcer, intestinal duodenal ulcer. So what they do? There is a small pore. The ulcer has become very intense. So there is a pore in the intestine. What to do? Cut the part where there is pore and then reconnect the intestine. That's all. The doctors also tell this is only temporary. Once you develop another ulcer, a very strong ulcer, and no problem, come lie down on the operation table, we will make surgery, we will cut that part also. Your kidney is a problem, remove the kidney. Your liver is a problem, remove the liver. Heart is a problem, remove the heart. Cholesterol is a problem, remove the part where the cholesterol is abundantly present. My dear students, my dear participants, most drugs also have side effects. They all affect your vital organs. Vital organs. I'll tell you about the vital organs later. So, and to our great shock, most of the drugs are duplicate drugs. You must be aware that the Parliament has passed a law to hang the offenders. When you take a medicine, you don't know whether it is genuine or not. And the results are mostly incomplete. The treatment. For example, is there any way to prevent cancer? Yes. What is the answer? Next. Next. The answer is not to be born. According to a cancer specialist, the only possibility to safeguard yourself from cancer is don't be born. That's all. So ultimately, for cancer surgery or whatever surgery, you have to be lifelong on medical treatment. If you have an eye problem, severe eye problem, the doctor says wear the glasses continuously, except during sleep. So the solution is not perfect. Next. And now you think about the genetics. Now they say genetics. Yes, all the information is in genes. The genes you acquired from your father and mother and the forefathers. Genes continue down, flow down, flow down. And my dear participants, what about our behavior? Your choices, your likes and dislikes, and the epigenetic aspects. Now they talk about epigenetics. That is, you have an inclination to steal, for example. You have an inclination to steal. When you are given an opportunity, the genetic aspect, the genes, it makes you to steal. That's all. Your character. Everybody wants to go away. Yes. But for those who have the genes, that is epigenetic, at that particular stage, it comes out. I can give you another very excellent example. A person is stressed. A person is stressed. When he is stressed, if he has got the genes inside, the stress becomes unmanageable. If the stress is caused only by outside factors, then he can take the medicines and cool himself. So a person who has a genetic problem has to take the medicines continuously, like blood pressure and diabetes. Next. Next. Yes. And there is no variation. Even identical twins are genetically identical, but there is variation among the identical twins also. For example, a dad addicted to liquor has two sons. One son hates liquor because he says, oh, my dad has spoiled everything. He spoiled our family. He has spoiled himself. so I will never drink. The other says, he has been spoiled. I also drink because my dad was like that. So the variation is within. Next. Next. Mariappan. Here, yoga comes to your help. It says, when you are born, you carry a load of actions, a load of karma. Karma. It is called Sanjita Karma, is the total package you come out with. And then Prarabdha Karma means you take something from the Sanjita Karma and live with Prarabdha Karma. We also say, oh, my Prarabdham was like that. That is Prarabdha Karma. Then Agamya Karma means what you do now. What you do now influencing your Sanjita Karma. That is, you are adding, if you do good things, you add punya to your Sanjita Karma and vice versa. The great saint Thiruvalluvar also accepts that there are vinaygal. Vinay means action. Next. Next. Yes. Next. So if then you have come to immunity. Now coronavirus is there. It is there everywhere. They say 80% of the population is affected, and the manifestations are there only for some people. Some people. The rest go free, spreading the disease. So they are called as carriers of the disease. You know, you may be a carrier, I may be a carrier, anybody can be a carrier. So without the symptoms, these are the most dangerous people. How they manage? Because they have immunity. Immunity means your strength to oppose the pathogen, your strength to oppose the disease, to fight the disease. So this immunity is dynamic. It varies from person to person, and within the person also it varies. Humans, but remember, my dear young participants, humans are essentially animals. I am sure all of you will agree that we are animals. But the only thing is we are social animals. But there is no need to hunt and gather. We need not hunt or gather our food. We use our brain. The physical work is very, very less. So when the human body is designed to hunt and gather, you change your lifestyle and face a host of problems. Next. Next. Now we will talk about mental health. Where is the mind? We all say mind. According to our mind, according to our conscience, you keep your palm in your chest. Oh, mind, manasarchi. Where is the mind? The simple best definition is mind is the worker. Brain is the workshop. So brain acts what your mind says. Your mind says, oh, that person is very bad. Then the workshop says, yes, he is very bad. Then I will hate that person. The hatred is in the mind, not in the workshop. That is why when you sleep, the workshop also sleeps. It just sleeps. But the worker is very active. And the worker can create dreams and visions based on what you have. And then we come to sanity. Are we all sane, calm, composed? Are we all sane? Are we mad? You will say, no, I am not mad. Then the question is, again coming to scale your sanity, 0 to 10. Now tell me, are you perfectly sane? 10, 9, 8, 7, 5. So it goes on it ranges from person to person. So mentally, we must be fit. Now, you must also remember that we are all programmed. Like a robot, we are programmed. When you are born, you don't have a name. Then who gives you a name? Your parents. And you, till now, till right at this second, until your death, will be addicted to your name. Old name, wonderful name. But who programmed this? Not your parents. Your ears, your sense, your ears. Somebody has been continuously telling, you are Chellam, you are Chellam, you are Chellam. Now, at the age of 73, I'm able to shake it off. Yes, I am Chellam. So, we are addicted. We get addicted by the 5 senses. You are a PhD, you are a professor, your wife, your family. These are all addictions. Next, please. Now, the brain, somebody asked yesterday that whether there is scientific evidence. The wonderful evidence is they have quantified the waves emitted from the brain. It is quantified as electromagnetic radiation based upon the frequency of thought. You go on thinking about something and something. You are very angry. You are in tears. You are unable to bear. Then at what level your brain is there? The brain emits beta waves. So the most frequent waves measured as thought waves, beta. Then what about alpha? Alpha is something like when you go to the temple, you stand before the Lord or goddess or whatever it is. You close your eyes for a second at least, you are free. Your mind says, oh God. Then you are in alpha stage. Then comes the theta stage. Then comes the delta stage. Delta stage is brain death. I told you about this issue. Next. So this is a wonderful figure which tells you about your mind, conscious mind, pre-conscious or subconscious mind, unconscious mind. It is compared to iceberg. In the iceberg, 1/3 of the iceberg is sea outside. 2/3 of the iceberg is below, beneath, underneath. So this 2/3 of the iceberg is your subconscious mind. So subconscious mind, where all the programs are there. Your degree, whether you are a male or you're female, your home, your dress, everything. This dress is good, that dress is good, that person is bad, this person is good, he is as neutral, the students are good, students are bad. So many value systems, so many. What is your value system? A family man should run like this only. Yes, it's all programmed in your subconscious mind. And my dear participants, below the subconscious mind, there is an unconscious or supraconscious mind. This supraconscious mind, it is said that it remains as a silent witness. It remains in silence, but it is always there. It is there. So this subconscious, this unconscious mind tells you when you get up that, oh, I had a wonderful sleep. I had a wonderful sleep. Who says you are asleep? But who says you had a wonderful sleep? That is the unconscious mind. It is supraconscious mind. Next. So if you want to know about the power of subconscious mind, there is an excellent book by Murphy, Stephen Murphy. It's an excellent book. And there are a number of literature on the mind, how mind, even our people, our yogis have separated the mind into different parts. What is different parts? For example, in Bhagavad Gita, you must have definitely seen the chariot. Arjuna sitting, so Bhagavan Krishna holding the reins and the horses. It is an excellent comparison. Is the horses are the senses. The horses are the senses. So the horses, they run here and there, like the five senses. Run here and there. And then, okay, don't run like this. Don't run like this. There is a rein. There is a rein. The chariot man, Bhagavan Krishna, holds all the reins, control. So control of the five senses, which jumps, which goes on jumping. And then Krishna leads the chariot. And Arjuna, he simply sits. He's a silent spectator. And when the job is over, when your life is over, Arjuna gets down. The chariot is left. The chariot is your body. What a beautiful comparison, my dear participants. So, the stress is a very big problem today. In India, more than 60 or 70% of the people are affected by stress. You have stress, I have stress. A child has stress. Now, the stress is when your expectations are not fulfilled, it is a stress. Then you go for fighting, or you run away from it. A painful blow is a stress. My dear participants, even a powerful kiss is a stress. Because when a powerful kiss is given, think of your heartbeat. Think of your pulse rate. Think of the blood coagulation time comes out, urine output goes down, digestive process halt. It constricts the blood vessels, releases adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and lot of nutrients from the body, reserves. Everything is alert. When you are in stress, alert. When you cry, alert. When you run away, you are alert. When you are angry, you are alert. But, my dear participants, please remember that all these changes are a waste. All these changes are a waste. Because in the prehistoric times, man used to run or fight. We saw escape from an elephant, kill an elephant. Both need energy. Both need all these changes. Heartbeat, pulse rate, coagulation time, everything, all the changes. But now in today's life, the situations are there. Like it looks like a snake, right? You cannot kill a snake, but the changes in your body are the same. So therefore, what to do next? Next. So therefore, what to do? We think about social health. A man has to interact with the society. When the child is born, the child cries. Why the child cries? Partly it has come out, but it has to interact with the society. It cries so that somebody will take care of the baby. So we have to interact with the society. There is no other goal. Now in your interaction with the society, the relationship is dependent, independent, or interdependent. The simple answer is dependent means you are a slave. You love somebody intensely. Maybe your husband, maybe your wife, maybe some other girl, some other boy. You cannot imagine your life without that person. Yes. Yes. I live for him. I live for her. So that type of relationship is called as dependent relationship or slave. And then independent. You know, the husband is dominating. In some houses, the wife is dominating. The children are dominating. So when you dominate, it is independent. The excellent relationship is interdependent. The simple definition is, don't walk behind. I will not follow. I will not follow means I am not your slave. Don't walk in front. I will not lead. I will not be independent. Walk beside and be my friend. That's all. Let us go together. Husband and wife, let us go together. Mother and child, let us go together. What a wonderful relationship. Student and teacher, let us go together. Interdependent relationship. Next, Mariappa. Next. And the brain power, it is rightly called as the jewel box. It weighs about more than 1 kilo, 1 kilograms, 1 kilo and 200 grams about. You know how much potential we use? My dear participants, we use only 5% of the brains. Even Einstein used only 6%. Now the question is, what is there in the 95%? Yoga gives you the answer. It says that is the goal of life. But we are content with 5%. All your social relationships, your family life, etc., all are within 5%. Your education, 5%. Your degree, 5%. Everything, 5%. So what is beyond 5%? That is a question. It's a $1 million question. Next. And stress, you know, it affects not only you, but make others also stressed. When you are angry, the other person is also angry. Or the other person cries. That is the problem. There is no time. Go to the next. Next, Mariappa. The key is, so brain death, we ask. Next. Next. Stop here. Humans, like any other animal or plant, have two important functions. One is survival, another is reproduction. That's all, nothing else. You have no other business in this world. Survive and reproduce. For these two only, we are spending our life. Next. Next. Yes. So yoga very clearly says each human being is potentially divine. Go beyond good and bad. Go beyond your survival. Have a minimum agenda for survival. Have a minimum agenda for reproduction. Go beyond. Break free from the bondages we are around. Next. So do your duty with a dispassion. This is what the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Do your duty and forget the rest. Make sincere efforts. Accept the results 100%. Whether it is failure or problem, everything accepts 100%. That is the only way to have your peace of mind. That is the only way to maximize your health and immunity level. Don't fall down. Get up. Accept life. Exercise regularly. Vivekananda says very clearly, God will not come to you. God will not come to you. The first requirement, according to Swami Vivekananda, is go to the basketball ground and play for half an hour till you are short of breath. Till you are short of breath. Then God comes to you. My dear participants, you have to practice this. I don't know how many of you are doing this. practice this. Eat nutritious, necessarily tasty food, not necessarily tasty food. Cut off the taste. If you want to have tasty food, take in small quantity and tell your mind, okay, I am satisfied. This is enough. Don't dump your tasty food into your stomach. It is not a dustbin. It is not a dustbin. So most of us have a strong spirit. I want this, I want this, I want this, but a weak flesh. Next. Next, please. So the golden rules are: your happiness does not depend on others. Your joy is within. Don't search it out. Our yoga literature very clearly says this. Never hurt yourself. The problem of hurting others is different, but you are hurting yourself, my dears. Remember that nobody is made for each other. No, no. Don't think that ideal relationships exist in this world. No, no. You are different. Another person is different. You are your best friend and worst enemy, according to Bhagavad Gita. I want you to think about this very important statement. If somebody insults you, mentally return the insult to the sender. It is a cover addressed wrongly to you. You receive a cover delivered to you, but it's not in your name. So therefore return the cover mentally. It's not for you. You are not the person. It's wrong. So therefore you save yourself. Ultimately you save yourself. Not for me, but wish them well. Why do you wish them well? Because you can be relaxed, peaceful and happy. Instead of kicking around, kick out the hatred and anger. Next. Next. Remember, when you see a film which you hate to see a film, you will not get the cassette and play it again in your player. Why you don't play? Because you don't like it. So similarly, don't run and rerun the events, the sad events of the past, the problems that kill you, that rob you, that take off your energy. Don't run and rerun. Forget it, my dear friends. Forgive and forget. So the yoga, if you want to do yoga, if you want to practice yoga, like the 10 commandments in Christianity, you have 10 commandments here. You have to follow this. The first one is ahimsa. Ahimsa means not hurting anybody. Not hurting anybody means including yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Satya, Asteya, Brahmacharya, you can see the literature, you can see the meaning. Brahmacharya means limited, moderation. Aparigraha, you don't desire for anything else. Be happy with what you have. And yamas means the 5 rules you have to follow. Niyamas means the 5 rules you have to follow. Yamas means you should not do. Next. The most important thing is there is one point called Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means surrender to the will of God. Surrender to the will of God. So self-discipline, contentment with what you have, saukha, purity, all these things will help you. And only when your mind is completely relaxed, at peace, by following these 10 commandments, yamas and niyamas. Yamas means which you should not. Niyamas means which you should follow. Then only you can go to the next. 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 Oh, next. Mariappan? Mariappan, next.
Sir, sir.
Andiksa.
Hello. Please carry on. Few minutes, sir. You please carry on.
Okay. So therefore, with all these introductions, what you should do, then we come to the practice of yoga. That is, yoga is the third stage. But Indian system of yoga gives you 4 very important, wonderful ways to cross your mind. To cross your mind. Kada ul. Cross your mind. The first and best one, which is practiced by most of us, the common man, is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means dedication, love, intense desire, bhakti. How can that itself become yoga? That is, when you believe in Ishvara Pranidhana, total surrender to the will of God, you forget everything. You go to the temple, stand before your God, either Allah or Jesus or a number of Hindu gods, you stand before and say, okay, I surrender everything unto you. You take care of my problems. My dear God, I love you. My dear God, you are my best friend. You know, in Tamil, there is one Thiruvasagam by a saint called Manikya Vasagar. He treats his God, Shiva, as his friend. As his friend. That's all. He is angry with his friend. He is happy with his friend. Full of joy. Yes, with his friend. And Mahagavi Bharadiyar goes one step ahead. As a girl, as a bhakti, as a girl, yes. But you forget everything. Abhirami, you forget everything. You are there. You are there. No, don't ask questions. Whether the God has an arrow, bow and arrow. Whether the God has a Trishulam. No, don't ask. Just accept. Just have faith. That's all. So Bhakti Yoga is just faith. And you must accept the word that Ishvara Pranidhana.
Sir, presentation is ready, sir. Presentation is ready.
Okay, thank you. Next. So the Ishvara Pranidhana, where you surrender to the will of God. And my dear young friends, participants, this Ishvara Pranidhana is a very, very important point I told you. It never asks you a question. And there are no rituals, my dear young participants, my dear participants. I'm sure participants will be from all age groups. Age is only a number. So therefore, I address you as young participants. My dear young participants, when you go to God, whether it is a temple or a mosque or a church, between you and your God, there is nobody, no ritual, nobody to connect you. Why? Because the divinity is within. The divinity is within. So therefore, with such a mentality of obedience, you go and pray, and leave everything to you. In Taimanavar, he says, one saint in Tamil Nadu says, mother can forget the child. A child can forget the mother. I can forget whatever I have learned. My eyes can forget to wink, close and open. My eyes can forget. My life, my body can, my jivan, my body can forget. My jivan, my body can forget. My body, jivan can forget. See to what extent to what extent he has written. That is Bhakti Yoga, my dear students, my dear participants. That is Bhakti Yoga. You just forget everything. Your eyes are there to see him. Your ears are there to hear about him. Your mouth is there to speak about him. All the senses are focused towards your God and Goddess. Nothing stands between you and your favorite God. In that stage, you forget yourself. You forget yourself. That is the aim of yoga. Now we will see about some. Before this, what was the slide? Before this? Before? Yes. Next. Go to the next. Next. Yes. Stop here. Now, this. Yes, stop. Now, this yoga. There's a Bhakti Yoga I told you. Jnana Yoga is still wonderful. Imagine, you should be grateful for having born in this soil, which has given to the world a wonderful treasure, and we must also try to follow. So the second one is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga begins with a single question. Who are you? I told you about when you are in deep sleep, who are you? Do you have a name then? Are you a male or a female? Place? Nothing, you don't know. It is there as your body. Even you don't know that. But when you get up, somebody was there. That somebody tells you that you had a good sleep. So self-inquiry, the big question, who are you, starts the Jnana Yoga. Then the next one is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means do your duty without any attachment. It's a very big statement. You can take another lecture. Okay, and then the last one is Raja Yoga. Raja, king. You are a king. I don't have faith in Bhakti Yoga. I don't have faith in Jnana Yoga. I don't have faith in Karma Yoga. Then come, my dear young boy. Young means not in number. Age is not a number. Come, do the Raja Yoga. In Raja Yoga, the question is, when you say chemistry, you don't understand chemistry. You have to read chemistry. You have to do practicals in chemistry. So similarly, my dear participants, you must practice what is said in Raja Yoga, and there are 8 steps. The advantage is in asanas. Most of us know only about asanas. In asanas, all the organs in the body are, I will not say activated. I will say they are optimized. You have endocrine glands, you have pituitary gland, master of all glands. Yes, optimize it. Don't make it over-secrete. Don't make it under-secrete. You have thyroid. Thyroid problem is a very big problem in today's society. Even children have thyroid problem, either hypo or hyperthyroidism. So what to do? Optimize it. Optimize it. And we take the whole body for granted. You have thyroid problem, you go to a doctor. You have a heart problem, go to a doctor. You have intense thinking power, go to a doctor. You have sleeplessness, go to a doctor. Your kidneys are not functioning properly, go to a doctor. Your liver, you got a fatty liver, go to a doctor. No, my dear participants. Give your body, your wonderful body, which you are going to have until your death, a chance to recover. Okay, for some problem, it has come out. The problem is there. So the first one is Raja Uruppukal. Raja means king. Uruppukal means all. What are these Raja Uruppukal? Lungs, your spleen, your liver, your intestine, large intestine, your pancreas, all these are called the Raja Uruppukal. So You have exercise for each and every part of your body. Yes. But do you give an exercise for your Raja Urupakal, king organs? Raja Urupakal? No. No. So what is the best exercise? Yoga says, crush them. Take out the blood. And then flood the organs with the blood. Fresh blood. Crush, flush. Crush, flush. The best asana to keep your youth, to keep you young and alive and kicking is Paschimottanasana. Is sit on the floor, bend with your legs straight, try to hold your toes. All these things should be done with a good supervision. Uddiyana, Bastrika are all excellent kriyas. Next, Mariappan. So, upside down. Have you ever thought of keeping your body upside down? Upside down, my dear participants, all these things, all these asanas are done in a very passive manner. Very passive manner. Have your mind at peace. The first rule is keep your mind peaceful. Be happy, be relaxed, and then do the asanas. My son said, Dad, doing these asanas and meditation are very tough, Dad. He's in USA. He told me today morning only. Because asanas need a lot of prerequisites. When you go for gym, you just go there and keep movement. You jog, you just go to the ground and jog. That's all. But here it is not like that. It has to be done in a passive manner because it links your mind also. Your body, mind, and soul, all the three are linked. No other system is like this. Then comes to, before this, what was the slide? Yes. Okay. So keep your body upside down. Sirasasana is called as the king of asanas. Sarvangasana is, as the name very clearly says, it's an asana meant for all the organs. Sarva Anga Asana. There are wonderful asanas. And my dear participants, many of the asanas are named after the yogi who designed it. Like Atta Machendra Asana. Atta Machendra Asana is the yogi who designed that. Then Karu Asana, wonderful. Vajrasana. They are all immunity boosters. Now we talk about immunity. Okay, you take whatever herbs available in the kitchen. They say you take pepper, you take dried ginger, you take nilavembu. So many are there. But your body should be in a position to accept. Remember that. So first of all, your body should be made fit. And the asanas help you. They are immunity boosters. Next, Mari. Next. So some of the asanas can be done for a long time, like Paschimottanasana, like Sirasasana. But be careful with the Sirasasana. Sirasasana is the king asana, but it has to be done with a lot of caution. So this I have told you about. Next, please. Next. And think about the mantras. I have been very much surprised when you when I read about the meaning of Gayatri, they say Gayatri, Gayatri, Om, Bhur, Bhuvasvaha. What's the meaning? You know the meaning of the Gayatri? Gayatri means let us pray the light that lights your knowledge. அறிவுக்கு அறிவாய் இருக்கும், அறிவுக்கு அறிவாய் இருக்கும். அறிவுக்கு அறிவாய் இருக்கிறது எது? That which enlightens your mind, that which powers you. Something is there powering you. So you pray that power which powers you. That is Gayatri. And now Mahamrityunjaya mantra. You know about Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Bhakta Markandeya, he embraced the linga. Yama came, tried to kill him. Then Shiva killed Yama. So the story goes. But the moral behind is Mrityunjaya Maha Mantra was chanted continuously by Markandeya, Bhakta Markandeya. Now the meaning of Mrityunjaya Mantra, have you ever thought of, I think I'm sure you would have known about cucumber plant. The cucumber plant, if you observe, so to that extent the yogis were observant. The cucumber plant gets detached when it becomes ripe. When the cucumber fruit gets detached when it becomes ripe from the mother plant. So Mahamrityunjaya mantra says, let me get detached like the cucumber that gets detached from the mother plant. That is Mahamrityunjaya mantra. Mahamrityunjaya mantra, what does it mean? Senses. Detach your senses. Detach your senses. See, continuously they program you. Right now they are programming you. Or you come to Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya refers to salutation to the 5 elements. 5 elements. Earth, air, Akash, fire, land. 5 senses. That's all. 5 elements. Pray to the 5 elements. Krishnarpanam. Surrender to the will of God. And when you say this, my dear participants, the best is silent repetition. You need not go to temple because the divinity is there within you. Why are you going outside? Do it with any god you like. Next. Next, Mariappa. Hello? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Nice to open the mind.
Sir, another 10 minutes, sir.
So therefore,
Hello,
be healthy. Okay.
Sir? Hello? Hello, sir? ஆமா. Dear participants, there is a network problem in that resource person end. Please wait for a minute. Please wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay, sir.
Am I audible? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Audible, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh?
Please go ahead, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. Go on one slide before. One slide before. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Now yes. என்ன பண்ண? So be healthy mentally, physically, and socially. Next. So now, am I audible, Mariappan? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mariappan, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sir, okay, sir.
Sir, please carry on.
Okay, okay. Yes, okay, okay. Now there was much discussion about the research on yoga, and recently Elsevier is one of the most leading publishers in science. It has published a review on the science of yoga. Next, please. So recent papers have focused on, especially for hypertension and anxiety during pregnancy, and to regulate the heart rhythm, and the brain wave activity, and postpartum depression. Next, please. Next. So these are some of the leading research papers. Next. Again, research findings. Next. So it is only a combination of yoga. Yoga can combine. It can combine with all the modern treatments. It can it can supplement and supplant. Next. Next. Next, Mariappan. Okay. So ultimately, it is the integrated approach. It joins with comfortably with it can comfortably modern treatments. Join with modern treatments. Okay, next. So thank you, my dear participants, for your patient listening. I am sure you will send your comments to the email ID given to you. I eagerly wait. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open for discussion. Participants, you may ask question directly to Professor. Questions are welcome.
Good morning, sir. I am Rangesh Kannan from Madurai Kamaraj University. Sir, is it audible?
Yes.
Sir, recently we are hearing about Prahalad Jane, who is from Gujarat, and he is considered as a breatharian monk, who is without food lives. But what it is, how it is possible, and what is your view on breatharian monks, whether it is true or just what way we can understand this breatharian monk?
Pardon?
Sir, breatharian monk who is found in Gujarat. His name is Prahalad Jane. He is known for living without food for many years. So, is it true or false?
See, yoga as such claims that we can see ultimately your body is activated by energy.
Yes, sir.
And the energy is in the form of living and non-living energy.
Okay.
So instead of taking energy from the food,
yes, sir,
you can take the energy right from outside.
Yes,
That's
sir.
a shortcut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sir, but some of the cases, what they claim that the breatharian can take the food from the cosmos.
That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
That's.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It is not food. It is the energy.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, good morning. Good morning, sir. Sir, good morning.
Yeah, please carry on.
Sir, I have actually thyroid issues. Which type of asanas we can rectify this thyroid problem, sir?
Yeah. See, for thyroid problem,
yeah,
the best thing is there are a few asanas which, as I said, crush, take the blood out of thyroid and flush the thyroid. There are some asanas meant for thyroidism. You can do that. And if it is a hyperthyroidism, meditation can help you quite a lot in optimizing the thyroid secretion.
Okay, sir. Hypothyroid and hyperthyroid. What's the difference between these two, sir? Hyper.
Huh?
Hypothyroid and hyperthyroid. Hyper. Actually, what's the difference actually?
You are not audible clearly.
That hyper it is based on that level of hormones, sir.
Level of hormones. Oh.
Yes.
One is higher,
Hypo
one
means
is lower.
over
Hyper more, hypo less, sir.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Sir, can I ask a question, sir? Sir, myself.
Yeah.
Sir, I am Dr. Soundarajan from Raja Sarabhoja College, sir. Sir, I am highly impressed with your simple language talk, sir. Small question, sir. Any age limit is for doing the yoga, sir? Any age limit?
Thank you. I am not able to hear you properly.
Is there any age limit for doing yoga?
No age limit at all. Actually, yoga, you can begin yoga after 12 years of age, because the development of bone, muscles, and joints will be complete only after 12 years. Except that, but everybody can do meditation. But asanas, the bones must be properly formed. That's all.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, one chat question, sir.
Yes.
Ms. Garima Bali asked that you have to suggest some guidance for children growth.
Some guidance for children.
Yeah.
The simplest and best is to inculcate the Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, and some children are hyperactive. They will be always doing something. It is very difficult to make them sit. For these people, the best thing is to make them sit before in the puja room, and everybody also should sit calmly at least for a period of 15 minutes. It is very difficult in the beginning, but in the long run, it will definitely pay the result.
Sir, another question from Mr. Sivakumar Satyanarayanan. Any yoga for obesity?
Any yoga, see, yes, there are asanas only. The asanas to cut off the unwanted fat in the human body. But the thing is, you must also take care of your food, because our diet is mainly based on carbohydrates. Any food we take is more carbohydrates. So 90% of the food is carbohydrate. Carbohydrate has empty calories. It is made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Remember always that fat also contains carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So therefore, you must, according to your age, you must minimize the consumption of carbohydrate.
Sir, is there any yoga for rectifying
Or
hypothyroidism?
burn the calories, burn the extra calories. But remember that
Hello, sir.
yes,
Sir, is there any yoga for hypothyroidism? Regarding thyroid, one question was asked earlier. Mr. Venkatesh asked this question.
definitely there is a the best thing as I told you is to optimize. There are asanas which can regulate the secretion of thyroid. As I want to repeat, meditation will help quite a lot. Yes.
Any other questions, direct questions to sir? Participants? Hello?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, please, ma'am.
I'm Shubha from Manakudi Born Circus Arts and Science College, sir.
Proceed, ma'am.
What is the uses of Batma Mayurasanam, sir? Hello, sir.
Mayurasanam.
Hello, sir. Batma Mayurasanam,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
What is the uses of Batma Mayurasanam, sir?
I can hear. Kala?
Batma Mayurasanam, sir.
The battery, the wire. Mayurasan is otherwise called as, peacock posture. Peacock posture.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I'm unable to hear you properly. Battery quality, sir.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Yes, you can do yoga if you are not flexible, because the purpose of yoga asanas is to make you flexible. To make you flexible, in doing yoga asanas, you should never compare. You should never compare with anybody. Even if you do 10%, that's good. 10% of your asana, excellent. Don't aim for perfection in the beginning. You have to begin, do it sincerely and honestly. Regularly, definitely you will succeed.
Sir, another question from Miss Pooja Sharma. What exactly salvation is in yoga? That last chart question.
What exactly?
Salvation is in yoga.
Salvation means?
what exactly salvation is in yoga?
Oh, yes. See, as I told you in the beginning itself, the goal of yoga is to cross your mind. As you have to make an attempt so that you can have wonderful peace of mind and bliss. Then you can go for dhyana. You can go for dhyana and samadhi. But for a normal life, you can lead a very peaceful life.
So, thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation, which is evident from the comments made by all the participants, which I will send to you. Formally, I would like to thank Indian Council of Philosophical Research, New Delhi, for sponsoring this webinar, which actually we have sent the proposal for one-day program, but they generously, due to the COVID situation, that one-day program has been changed as a webinar. For that, I thank the council again from the management of our college. I thank Dr. V. Sandamil Selvi Madam, Principal of RHGC, for her support in conducting this kind of programs in this lockdown situation. I thank the key resource persons, Dr. M. Srinivasan, Director, CAS in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, Mrs. S. Selvarani Madam, and Dr. Challam Balasundaram, Bharatidasan University, for acting a key resource persons in this webinar. I also thank Dr. M. Sukumaran and Dr. R. Ravichandran, faculty members of Zoology, RSGC, for supporting this webinar program in a conducting this webinar program in a smooth manner. I also extend my warm, sincere thanks to Dr. K. Ramesh Kumar, Babu, Dr. P. Murugayan for their contribution during the session, and also support faculty members of Zoology, Raja Sarboji Government College. Last but not least, I would like to thank participants from universities, colleges, organizations, schools, and others also. A huge response we have received, and more than 150 participants they have actively linked with us during the 3 days of this webinar. So that I thank all the participants and also your support in our webinars. So I thank all of you, and also thank again the Indian Council of Philosophical Research for supporting our program. Thank you one and all. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sure.